You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
Kids are nervous, anxiety gets them, so it's a really big problem now.
The one solution really that the march is looking at, which is gun control, will not make schools safer or anybody safer.
Making it harder for people to get guns will certainly help prevent these things from happening.
Hashtag never again. Hundreds of thousands marching demanding something be done about school violence and gun violence. But will Congress and the president listen? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the March for Our Lives in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. You've heard the expression about fixing the barn door after the horse has come home. We begin tonight with action months after more than a dozen seniors died from a lack of air conditioning at a Florida nursing home facility. Governor Rick Scott signing legislation today requiring emergency generators at all state nursing homes so the temperature cannot rise above 81 degrees. Under the new law, nursing homes and assisted living facilities must have an alternative power source to keep electricity running for a minimum of 96 hours after a facility loses power. The new requirements will cost an existing nursing home $145,000 for a new generator and $4,500 in yearly maintenance. But Pines of Sarasota says that number is low.
Every half a year, we do a major and minor tune-up. We also run our generators constantly. So every year, just from running our generators and testing them, we use about $12,000 worth of fuel.
All existing nursing homes in the state must have plans implemented no later than June 1st. Governor Rick Scott signing 74 more bills into law. They include a tax cut package, a measure declaring the legislature's intent to observe daylight saving time year-round, and a bill preventing most minors from getting married. The bill includes an exception for 17-year-olds who have written consent from their parents or guardians.
The terrible, awful life that I had inspired me to speak for others. I'm a voice of those that are afraid to talk, a voice of those who cannot talk because of the pain.
In total, the legislature passed 195 bills during this year's session, and Scott has signed 154 into law. To date, he has not vetoed any bills. Scott tweeted, "Big announcement incoming on April 9th. There is speculation he will launch a Senate bid to challenge incumbent Democratic Senator Bill Nelson in November. Scott has long been courted by national Republicans and President Trump to run against Nelson. He says he'll make the announcement by Facebook Live. Lawyers for the widow of the Pulse nightclub shooter say they have only just been told the attacker's father was an FBI informant for 11 years. Lawyers for North Salmon are asking for a mistrial, saying the information should have been disclosed earlier by prosecutors. Salmon is accused of helping her husband, Omar Martin, plan the June 2016 attack on the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, where he killed 49 people. A follow-up now to a story we first brought you last week. Manatee County EMS is considering changing its policy after a man's dead body was left on the side of the road for hours. Manatee County EMS and Manatee County Sheriff Rick Wells plan to meet tomorrow to discuss improving current EMS policy to ensure what happened to Ty Ross's body does not happen again. EMS left the 78-year-old Ross's body on the side of the road near Palmasola Marina with a sheriff's deputy after he suffered a heart attack and EMS couldn't revive him. His body laid there under a sheet for hours until the family got a hold of a funeral home to pick him up. And the arrest has been made in a stabbing outside the Sarasota restaurant Saturday night. The victim had stab wounds in the chest and the forearm. Dennis Prato has been arrested and charged with 1 count of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. The investigation revealed Prato was the victim, and the victim allegedly got into an argument. Prato is currently being held without bond at the Sarasota County Jail. Today was the kickoff of the Flying Scott Midwinter Championships. It's a biannual sailboat race hosted by the Sarasota Sailing Squadron. The 61 participants hit the water for day 1 of the full circle course today. The winner will have the best times after completing the race every day until Thursday. Now let's head over to ABC7's meteorologist Steve Newman with the first alert forecast. Steve, a nice day for sailing.
It was a great day for sailing. A lot of breezes to fill the sails thanks to a cold front that came through the back door. It didn't come through like this. It came through like this. So we didn't get the full brunt of the cooler air that they did up north and along the Atlantic coast. And we're also seeing some showers as a result of that, but they're thinning out as the heat of the day dies down. But it's been fairly damp and kind of dreary along the Atlantic coast. By far, we had the better weather here along the Sun Coast. And these showers, you can see them thinning out as they're marching across the state late in the afternoon, early evening. Take a look at our almanac. Believe it or not, we were just 2 degrees shy of a high today. The high was 86, normal is 78. 2 degrees shy of the record set back in 2007 of 88 degrees, pretty close to normal for the overnight low. We're going to be in the low 80s, I think, maybe mid 80s in some spots for the rest of this week. Our future radar takes us through the evening and overnight hours, shows those showers along the Atlantic just dissipating, and those arrows indicate the winds continuing to blow on from the due east, and they'll be drier pretty much for the rest of tonight with partly cloudy skies, the general trend. If you're heading out tonight, going fishing, or just enjoying all the Suncoast has to offer, look at these temperatures. Still in the 70s until midnight, and 60s overnight. So if you want to go fishing all night long, the weather's going to be just perfect for that.
Nothing to complain about except for the lack of rain for our lawns.
Little chance on Friday night, Saturday, but that's not a lot of rain, and then after that, I don't know when it's going to rain again. I'm sorry.
Thanks a lot, Steve. And still to come, their voices have been heard, but will anything change after the March for Our Lives?
My name is Luke Perry, and I am 1 million strong. I'm in the fight against colorectal cancer because I believe we can win it. Colon and rectal cancers are the second leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the U.S. Colon cancer is preventable. Know the risk factors and make sure to get screened. There are simple, take-home options available. Take control of your health. Screening for colon cancer isn't embarrassing. It can be life-saving. To find out more about your options, visit fightcrc.org.
Stay connected to your clients and new customers using ABC7 digital media services. Our team of professionals provide a wide array of digital services to help you get the most out of your website. We specialize in building and helping you maintain the most effective digital solutions for your business. It's vital that your online presence stands out, so our experts will equip you with the best resources available. Trust ABC7 digital media services to give you the right tools to grow your business.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
Designers do it with style.
Tell me what's going on here.
Why, you don't like my hair?
The Mark and Mandy Show. In-depth design ideas.
What is up with the tuck tape here? Let's cover it up.
Amazing beauty and fashion tips.
So Halle Berry has amazing skin. Her secret is coffee grounds.
No.
Delicious recipes.
Today, I'm going to show you a special dish that is sure to please that special someone in your life.
Watch the Mark and Mandy Show right here on your favorite channel.
Are you a food lover, restaurant goer, or home cook? Then check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, and helpful step-by-step videos. And you'll love the restaurant guide with direct links to your favorite Suncoast eateries. Whether you're cooking in or dining out, whet your appetite with tasty tips from Chef Judy at mysuncoast.com/dining. Get breaking news alerts focused on the Suncoast. Download the ABC7 News app.
Agree with the cause or not, the rallies over the weekend by youngsters around the country demanding gun control made an impact. We're all talking about it. Here on the Suncoast, organizers say nearly 8,000 people came out in Sarasota on Saturday and 3,000 people in Bradenton for the March for Our Lives rallies. ABC7's Erica Jackson was there and shows us how the area's youngest demonstrators are making a huge impact.
Thousands demanding change, roaring for stricter gun laws, and many students arguing they don't know a world before the deadly Sandy Hook and Marjorie Stoneman Douglas school shootings.
Children were just slaughtered in their school where they believed they were safe.
Kids are nervous, anxiety gets them, so it's a really big problem now.
In both Sarasota and Bradenton, the March for Our Lives movement attracting the area's youngest demonstrators.
Since I'm not 18, I cannot vote, so I think this is another way for me to have a voice.
Their goal, to grab the attention of lawmakers in Tallahassee and at the nation's capital.
Even though some of us aren't old enough to vote or anything, it's like the expression, actions speak louder than words.
Saturday's rallies come weeks after Governor Rick Scott signed the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Act, which, among other things, raises the minimum age to purchase a firearm to 21 and allows local leaders to decide if and how they want to arm teachers.
If their solution was looking at maybe we should allow school personnel that are vetted and trained to be able to defend school children in an active shooter situation, that might make some sense.
Until we have sweeping changes in gun control and mental health care, I have very little faith that that would make a huge difference.
But Second Amendment advocates argue less guns won't mean safer schools.
The one solution really that the march is looking at, which is gun control, will not make schools safer or anybody safer.
A University of Pittsburgh study found 80% of gun crimes in the city were committed using weapons obtained illegally, and less than 20% were committed by licensed gun owners.
It's not the guns, it's the people. Our problem is who's using the guns and where they're using them.
While Florida's new gun control law provides nearly $70 million in mental health funding for schools, protesters are fighting for more to be done at the federal level.
Making it harder for people to get guns will certainly help prevent these things from happening.
Some argue President Donald Trump and Republicans are turning a blind eye after 17 people were killed at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High last month.
We just can't let this happen again. We can't allow this to continue in this country.
I'd say the president's already had some pretty good listening times where he listened to the parents and students at the White House there. He had that big meeting and it was all televised and people gave him a piece of their mind and he sat there and he listened to all of it.
But half of today's high schoolers will be eligible to vote in the 2020 presidential election. And demonstrators believe that's when the country will see its biggest change.
Show up to the polls and vote so that we don't have to deal with the consequences and repercussions of a government that does not represent us.
But if it takes the youth of this country standing up to get them to listen and realize that the powerful voting bloc is coming their way, then I am all for all the change that we can run.
Reporting in Sarasota, Erica Jackson, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
In a moment, a teenager who traveled to Washington, a Republican and Democrat talk about the politics of it all, and a reporter who covered it here in Sarasota when we take it to the trapezoid.
WWSB ABC7 is an equal opportunity employer, and we're looking for qualified people to join our dynamic team. For a list of current openings and to apply online, visit www.mysuncoast.com/contact/employment. If you're a motivated team player and you want a rewarding career in a fun, fast-paced working environment, WWSB ABC7 could be the perfect fit for you. Check out our list of openings now.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
Florida Studio Theater presents Blue Suede Shoes, celebrating the birth of rock and roll. From the father of rock and roll, Chuck Berry, to the king himself, Elvis Presley, this musical review features such great hits as Rock Around the Clock, Mustang Sally, Johnny Be Good, and of course, Blue Suede Shoes. Critics are calling Blue Suede Shoes a burst of rock history, dynamic and high voltage. Audiences are calling it phenomenal. Blue Suede Shoes has been held over by popular demand. Tickets can be purchased by calling 941-366-9000 or by visiting floridastudiotheater.org.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Everybody can make something, because I think everyone has a spark of creativity, and the reason that I have to keep making is because I don't think my life would be as fulfilling without it. If you make things yourself, that means you're not cowering in fear. You're out there taking chances. That, I think, is my way of saying I love you to the world. All right, now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Welcome back. What will be the impact of last weekend's March for Our Lives? On one side, there was undeniable passion and purpose from hundreds of thousands of teenagers in Washington, around the nation, and on the Suncoast. If they're not old enough to vote yet, folks, they will be soon. And that suits gun control advocates and many Democrats just fine. Not so with a lot of gun rights supporters who derided the kids, the cause, and the motive. And joining us by Skype are 13-year-old Kaylee Majowski, who attended the rally in Washington, and her mother Amanda, former State Representative Keith Fitzgerald, who teaches political science at New College, and Eric Arroyo of the Sarasota Young Republicans, and Elizabeth DeGinnis, who covered the Sarasota rally for the Herald Tribune. And Kylie, let me start with you and just ask you what you got of being at that rally on Saturday.
I would have to say it was one of those things where there was just so much emotion and passion and feeling in the environment that it was one of those things where you were just so inspired by everything. And it wasn't hateful and it wasn't rude. It was passion and it was anger that had built up to a point where we've decided that enough is enough, and we've decided that we're going to stop letting the children of America be slaughtered.
What has been your reaction when you have heard people on the other side of the issue who believe in the Second Amendment and believe in their rights to carry and bear arms basically say a lot of critical things about you and your fellow teenagers, and whether or not you're old enough and mature enough to be forcing your opinions on the rest of the nation?
I think that if I'm old enough to be shot, I think I'm old enough to have an opinion about being shot. And with all due respect to the other side, I think the Second Amendment was written 200 years ago, and times have changed. And when there's this much hate and this much murder happening, I think there should be certain exceptions. And I feel like some people are trying to make it about anything but guns, when at the end of the day, guns actually do kill.
Amanda, how has Parkland changed how you talk to your kids about school and about gun violence?
So I think it wasn't just Parkland. I think it was, you know, I remember Sandy, and I remember every moment since then. When you have children, it's nerve-wracking to think about what it means when they come off the bus, and when you know they're going to have lockdown drills, and how to tell them to both be safe and be conscious and be an activist. I mean, I couldn't be more proud of my daughter at this moment. I'm incredibly inspired by her generation. I'm incredibly motivated by the fact that they want to take back their own lives. This isn't right or left. This is just pure safety of their own well-being when they're in a public situation, which is their school environment. So I just try to focus on keeping them both safe and motivated.
Elizabeth, we saw these rallies all over the entire country, including here in Sarasota and in Bradenton. Was the rally here in Sarasota any different than you expected it to be?
I think I was struck actually by not how many students were there, but how many, I would say 65 plus people were there. These people have really come out. Sarasota has 34% of our population is over 65. And I saw one sign that said, "I'm here for my grandchildren's lives." I think that was a popular sentiment.
And that brings me to you fellas, because we're all wondering what, if any, impact will this have on our local politics. You saw one young man in the rally in Washington who said this.
Politicians,
Either represent the people or get out. The people demand a law banning the sale of assault weapons. The people demand we prohibit the sale of high-capacity magazines. The people demand universal background checks. Stand for us or beware, the voters are coming.
Now, Eric, I would imagine you don't agree with everything that young man said, but do Republicans take note that there seems to be a lot of energy by those youngsters who are about voting age and those people who support them?
Yes, I don't think it's a partisan issue. I think no political party right now is in favor of more mass shootings. I think we all need to find common ground and stop these guns from getting in the hands of bad people. There's many guns out there and many laws that are not being enforced. For example, in the secondary market, felons can get guns very easily. And I think we need to find that common ground, not have a sweeping ban.
But Keith, you saw people like our friend Rod Thompson say that if these kids were they're about arming teachers or somebody else in the school to protect their lives, that would be one thing, but gun control of any sort would not have stopped what happened in Parkland.
Well, Rod can say whatever he wants to say, but the fact of the matter is that every country that has enacted serious control of semi-automatic weapons has seen a dramatic decrease in mass shootings. Similarly, every country that has serious regulation of the sale of weapons, serious background checks, have also seen dramatic drops. It's not a matter of opinion, it's a matter of fact. And let me just say, first of all, I admire these kids so much. They were awesome, but I'm not surprised. I work with kids that age all the time, and I don't underestimate their capabilities. It will make a difference.
Okay, we are just getting warmed up. We'll have much more on the March for Our Lives right after we check the First Alert weather, so stay with us.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android. This is awesome. You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. It was the...
Is that bacon? You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now, we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
Here's today's job of the day. ABC7 is seeking a part-time digital media producer to write and post fresh, engaging content to our website. Excellent writing skills and newsroom experience required. Visit mysuncoast.com/job-of-the-day to apply.
Our conversation on the March for Our Lives continues right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with meteorologist Steve Newman. Steve.
Hey, Alan, what a great day to be sailing on the bay. I think the sailing squadron just out of frame there from City Island. They had plenty of wind in their sails today. And as we look towards sunset in about a half hour's time, you can already see that glow illuminating the bridge. Currently at Sarasota Bradenton International Airport, SRQ, the temperature is 80 degrees, our dew point 61. So we're back up. That crisp, dry air we had last week has been blown away by a moist easterly wind off of the Atlantic, east-northeast at 14 miles per hour. And that's going to be blustery, a little breezy right on through tomorrow. Bad news is no rain, and we have a slight chance of some light rain coming in Friday night into Saturday, but we're already 2 1/4 inches below normal for the month and 4 1/3 below normal for the year, and no rain of any consequence in sight. Now, we do have this front that came through the back door. A lot of times the fronts will come this way and bring us cool air, but when they come in from this direction, the brunt of the cold air hits the Atlantic coast and the Panhandle in North Florida, so we really escaped that, so we didn't cool off all that much. In fact, we were 2 degrees shy of the record high today. A lot of clouds blowing across the state from the Atlantic. You see the individual cumulus clouds blowing there, as well as a few scattered showers indicated on radar, but they're hardly making it to the center of the state, so we will remain dry here overnight, and those showers will dissipate as the evening goes on. Well, it's that time of year for severe thunderstorms in the Midwest, and this is Tornado Alley, and there's an enhanced chance of storms with damaging winds, hail, and also short-lived tornadoes along this stretch. And if we look at radar, there is a severe thunderstorm watch in effect in West Texas with the strongest activity from Abilene to Wichita Falls, and this whole area will shift eastward into the Dallas-Fort Worth area overnight tonight and East Texas tomorrow. It's part of advancing cold front stretching from Kansas down into Mexico, and there's plenty of heat to drive this energy. You get these temperatures in the 80s and even low 90s. That's the brighter areas there in red down in the lower Rio Grande Valley and Nuevo Leon in northern Mexico. Otherwise, for here, we don't have any worries about severe thunderstorms for the next few days. In fact, I don't see we're going to have any of that problem for quite some time. There goes that cold front that came through earlier through the back door, now moving down into Cuba tomorrow and the next day. We have high pressure drifting down the Atlantic coast and positioning itself right off the Bahamas in another day or so, bringing in easterly winds. It's just going to continue to have that moist, mild easterly flow off the Atlantic, and that's going to keep any big changes out of our forecast for some time. Forecast for tonight is for partly cloudy skies. Our low temperature 64, 59 is the average, and we will have east-northeast winds 10 gusting higher than that overnight. And for tomorrow, a beautiful sparkling day, partly sunny skies, 83 with the average about 78, so we are warmer than normal, but considering today was, 86, we may be a little bit warmer than that. We'll see. We'll check the forecast at 11. Gusting to 20, those easterly winds, and here's your 7-day outlook, showing breezy conditions today. They slacken off a little on Wednesday, but then come back Thursday and Friday as a front approaches from the north, bringing us a chance of showers Friday night, which is the beginning of Passover, into Saturday. Early showers clearing out Saturday and Easter Sunday. Looks like a beautiful sunny day with high temperatures around 81. No rain in sight. Other than that, slight chance on Saturday. Alan will be back with his guest right after these words. Stay tuned.
I'll be right back.
My name is Julius. I have cerebral palsy. I work for Farmer Jeffy Weising Law Firm. I do a lot of data entry and scanning documents. I want to increase my working experience to make the company much better. At the end of the day, it's good to think of the day's work and to think about what I have accomplished.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Want the latest weather and traffic conditions wherever you go? Introducing ABC7's revolutionary new First Alert weather app. With our state-of-the-art new weather app, you get up-to-the-minute weather alerts, interactive radar maps, current conditions, 10-day forecasts, real-time traffic maps, and weather video from ABC7, all at your fingertips. And it's free. Just search Suncoast WX in the App Store and download onto all your devices today. Sponsored by Mr. Sparky.
Everybody has a dream. mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Welcome back. We're talking about the March for Our Lives and the impact on the midterm elections. And joining us by Skype, our 13-year-old Kylie Majkowski, who attended the rally in Washington, and her mother, Amanda. Former State Representative Keith Fitzgerald, who teaches political science at New College. Eric Arroyo of the Sarasota Young Republicans, and Elizabeth DeGenis, who covered the Sarasota rally for the Herald Tribune. Kylie, let me ask you this. What do you think the impact of this rally in Washington and elsewhere will have on your representatives?
So I think the reason I found this rally so interesting was that it was almost like, because it was majority of it was led by children and teenagers and the younger generation. And it was almost us announcing ourselves as a generation. So I think the impact is we were informing them, not just the politics that have said that guns are good, but the politicians, but also the politicians that have not taken a stance. We are like pulling the people out of the dark, because if you have the power to make a change, then you should be making it. And we're here, and we've said that enough is enough, and we're ready to vote out of office. And it's the basics of politics that if you're not supporting our beliefs, we're going to vote you out.
How old are you?
13.
Wow. Okay. Amanda, let me ask you this. There is part of an interview that was done yesterday that has really gotten a lot of attention, and it's former Pennsylvania Senator Rick Santorum, who went on CNN yesterday and said this.
How about kids, instead of looking to someone else to solve their problem, do something about maybe taking CPR classes or trying to deal with situations that where there is a violent shooter that you
how
can
are they looking at other
respond to
people?
that.
I would ask you, they took action.
Yeah, they took action to ask someone to pass a law. They didn't take action to say, how do I, as an individual, deal with this problem? How am I going to do something about stopping bullying within my own community? What am I going to do to actually help respond to issues?
You know, an editorial in the Washington Post this afternoon said it's CPR is not going to be a lot of help when the blood is all over on the ground. And but as a mom who actually has a young daughter there who is incredibly well spoken, how would you respond to this, Senator?
I would respectfully tell the senator that that won't matter in the moment. And honestly, they know how to do both. So if they need to do CPR, they'll do it, and they shouldn't have to.
You know, Eric, is it difficult because a lot of folks have very strong opinions on both sides of this issue, but when you hear a comment like, you know, from Senator Santorum like that, people kind of just go to their dispositions in terms of their corners, and they don't hear each other.
They don't hear each other, and I think what we need to realize is that everybody that went out to the protest was exercising their First Amendment rights. And imagine you told them that they couldn't protest. That's the same level of fury or anger that people feel when you try to do a blanket sweep against the Second Amendment. I'm in support of the Second Amendment. I think it was put in there for a reason. I think our forefathers, you know, because of Shays' rebellion, these concerns came about. If you look at these countries like Turkey, Cuba, Venezuela, they've enacted sweeping gun reforms or they eliminated guns altogether, and it did not help. Look at a developed country like Australia. And they, in 1996, enacted their bill, a sweeping gun ban, and you know, a 3.2 increase in homicide, 44% increase in robberies, and there's just no backing of these statistics.
Elizabeth, I'm sorry, but Elizabeth, was there any sign of any counter protests here in Sarasota or on the Suncoast, or basically was this a day for those folks who want something done in terms of gun control basically were out there?
Yeah, I didn't really see any kind of notable counter-protesters. I will say, because of their very public location over there on Gulfstream, right by the Ringling Bridge, you often will get people driving by in cars who might say something negative. You get a lot of honking too, positive honking, but that was kind of the extent of the negative backlash that I saw publicly that day at the march.
Keith, let me run something by you, since you are the political analysis extraordinaire. The New York Times reported today the gun debate could play out very differently in House and Senate races as Republicans strain to save suburban congressional districts where gun control is popular and Democrats defend Senate seats in red states where the Second Amendment is sacrosanct. Both apply here in Sarasota, in the Suncoast, and across Florida.
So I think that's a good analysis. I think it's true. First thing I think we should say, though, Kylie summed it up really well. This was the announcement of a generation that they are now significant. These kids are not our future. They are now. There are polls out right now that say that 18 to 25-year-olds have as much interest in voting this fall as 55 to 65-year-olds. This has never been seen before. So we're going to be looking at a very different electorate. Some of these young people are going to be out voting, and it will make a difference. And let me also just say that, you know, the Second Amendment stuff, there really isn't any Second Amendment issue here. The idea of a ban on semi-automatic weapons has already been considered by the Supreme Court. It's been found to be, or by the circuit courts. Supreme Court denied cert. It's constitutional. Second Amendment is fine. It's not going anywhere. So, and that just needs to be said, because there's not a juxtaposition between people who support the Second Amendment and people who want to do something about it.
But you are assuming that some of these young people who are turning 18 years old will vote. Historically, young people that age do not vote, and the question is, will they in the now have impact on the midterms?
Right, and so what I'm saying is that we've never seen this expression of interest among people that age at this level ever before in any research. That doesn't mean they'll vote necessarily at the same rate as older people, but at a higher rate. And their positions on these issues are remarkably different from older people.
Eric, are you concerned in terms of they always talk about voter enthusiasm, and that because of everything with the president and other things that the Democrats really have a lot of enthusiasm right now. We saw in the special election for House 72, the Republicans struggled to get their vote out there. Are you concerned this is just one more thing that Republicans have to be aware of, that the other side is energized because of issues like this, and we got to work on things?
I don't think there are two sides to this. I think everybody's tackling the same issue, which is getting guns out of the hands of bad people, stopping these mass shootings. We just have to find a solution so we can work together. Again, finding common ground.
Kylie, let me ask you, in our time left here, what do you do now? You went to that rally. What do you do when you go back to school?
I think the biggest power that anyone who can't currently vote has is just spreading the word. I think that's the most important thing to do at this point, is stating our opinions and reminding the world that it's 5 years away till I can vote. And once I do, I know that I'm going to be speaking for what I believe in and voting for people who support my beliefs. So until then, it's remaining just as passionate about what I believe in, and it's remaining just as angry about how many people have been killed, and it's remaining just as determined to make the future brighter.
And Amanda, what is the sense in your community, because we live in a very diverse community, and you might well have friends who have different opinions in terms of gun control and Second Amendment rights. Is it getting more difficult to talk to your neighbors about this, or is it becoming easier?
I don't think it's more difficult. I think it's actually because we just want our children to be safe. I don't think that this is this is not a Second Amendment issue for us. We were just talking about how in my generation we didn't worry about this. So we want our children safe. It's really that simple.
Okay. All right, we have to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
Many websites selling medication may look professional and legitimate, but the vast majority of sites selling prescription drugs are doing so illegally. Criminals use websites to sell counterfeit medications that may contain life-threatening toxins. .Pharmacy is a website verification program that helps you identify safe and trustworthy online pharmacies. Purchasing medicine online can be safe and easy. Just look for pharmacy to the right of the dot in website addresses.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. When we first heard that diagnosis, you feel extremely alone. Walking in that Light the Night light with 6,000 people carrying lights, white for survivors, red for supporters, gold in memory of those who have passed. It's the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's hope that every year there are fewer gold lanterns. Your lantern will make a difference.
Start a team, join a team.
Help us light the night.
Meet Blue. Blue's not feeling well. The prescription? Generic medication. Blue wonders, do they really work as well as name brands? Yes, generics and name brand medications do work the same. Even though they may look different, generics have the same key ingredients. FDA approval is equally rigorous for generics to make sure they're as safe and effective as name brands. And Blue even saves some green, making him a little less, well, blue. Talk to your doctor about generics and visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
Our guests join us right now for final thoughts. So, Amanda and Kylie, this is your chance. What do you want people who have been watching this today and watch what happened over the weekend to take away from it?
For me, it's just enough is enough. And as a generation, we are completely prepared to hold the politicians that haven't taken a stance out of the dark, and we are going to make a change.
Amanda?
For me as a mom, no more. I want more of this. I think these kids are amazing, and I think they're going to change what's happening in Washington.
Elizabeth, what was the sense that you got of the young people who came out here on the Suncoast? Same thing as in Washington? I mean, this is, this area is a little bit less diverse and politically than, everybody going to Washington.
I think a lot of kids feel a similar way that Kylie expressed, which is that they feel like this has become a reality for them in the classroom. Some people feel scared to go to school. I think there was a lot of emotion at the march on Saturday. Kids were really, fired up about this issue. And I was going to say about the voting issue is that I saw so many signs that said things like vote them out. There are these signs circulating nationwide that said I'll be eligible to vote in, an insert year here, depending on the kid's age. And I think that is such a common theme now in these protests, unlike the protests I've seen in the last year and a half.
Keith and Eric, there's a new poll that came out by the Associated Press, NORC, that finds 69% of Americans now favor stricter gun control measures, up from 61% the same time, October 2016, 55% when the AP first started asking the question. Overall, 90% of Democrats, 54% of gun owners, and 50% of Republicans now favor stricter gun laws. But it does not seem anything really profound is about to take place in Washington. Eric.
Well, I think the protest was done because nothing was being done, but I think there's a wave and you can feel it. Things are going to happen. Things are going to change. And I think we need to be mindful of the fact that there are laws currently in place that we need to start enforcing and maybe address some of the issues that are being presented with some new laws.
Keith, do you see anything happening in Congress?
Well, not this session, but congressional control may shift from one group of people to the other. And while it's nice to frame this as not a partisan issue, I think it's also the case that one party tends to be on one side of this issue and one tends to be on the other. It's really inspiring that these kids did not play some kind of culture clash game. They're focused in on a specific issue and they want action. But on the other hand, if I'm a politician who is not listening, I'm quaking in my boots because they're coming. They're keeping score, and it's very impressive. They know not only who their enemies are, they know who their friends are, and they're going to be supporting the candidates who care about their issue. as they come of age, and college-age students as well. So it may not happen with this Congress, but it might with the next.
Eric, what would you tell some of the Republicans who are running for office right now? You have an incumbent, Vern Buchanan. You have an open congressional seat here with two people who are not really into talking about gun control and elevating ages or so forth, but you're also hearing what the passion is out there from some of these young people.
Yeah, I would just say don't make it a political issue. Make it it's not left and right, it's right and wrong, right? That's what they say. So address the issue at hand, which is, you know, bullying in schools, is mental health, it is felons getting their hands on guns. Address these issues, because I don't think it's a political issue. I think everybody should be hands-on in this right now.
And we will have to leave it there. Thank you all. FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. And for the latest on local breaking news, don't forget to download the updated version of our app. If your current app doesn't work, it's expired, just go to the App Store and re-download it by searching for WWSB or My Suncoast. We want to thank all our guests for being here tonight. 13-year-old Kylie Majikowski, I don't know about that, who attended the rally in Washington along with her mother Amanda, former State Representative Keith Fitzgerald, who teaches political science at New College, Eric Arroyo of the Sarasota Young Republicans, and Elizabeth DeGinnis, who covered the Sarasota rally for the Herald Tribune. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather, plus why is the Trump administration expelling Russian intelligence officers from the United States? Stay with us.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Chris Domine is a husband, father, an athlete, even an Ironman. But 10 years ago, Chris's kidneys were failing.
The doctor said if you don't do dialysis, if you don't get a kidney transplant, you are going to die.
Then Chris received a second chance, made possible by an organ donor.
Your well-being changes from loss of hope to better times ahead.
Imagine what you could make possible. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get the final check on our first alert forecast with meteorologist Steve Newman. Steve.
Alan, look at the skies over the Suncoast today. This is from our Lakewood Ranch cam. A lot of clouds blowing in from the east, but as the day goes on, you see them thin out like 5, 6, 7 o'clock, and we're getting ready to have sunset with mainly fair skies. I want to thank everybody that sends in pictures to pics at mysuncoast.com, including Dale Kemperling, who sent in this picture from the Pirates-Phillies game up at Lecom Park in Bradenton. It's the next to last game of the spring season for the Pirates. And this picture from University Honorary showing the low clouds and fog this morning hovering around the lights. Thanks to Dee Pepper for that picture. We're not going to see that again in the morning. It's going to be mainly fair. And a beautiful sunset last night, like the one we're having right now at Nokomis Beach. Thanks, Lillian Bosco, for that picture. Currently at Sarasota Bradenton Airport, the temperature right now 80 degrees, dew point 61, 80 at almost 8 o'clock. Beautiful evening to be out on the town. Those east-northeast winds at 14 miles an hour will slowly subside. It got up to 86 today. That is 2 degrees shy of the record set back in 2007, right about normal for the overnight low temperatures. Looking at the winds, they're still fairly gusty, especially in inland areas, clearly from the east. But as we get into South County and Charlotte County, they kind of are switching around here because of some local effects with the sea breeze and the heating of the land, but lighter in the south than it is in the north and inland. And here is the weather pattern. It's a cool front that came in the back way, so the brunt of the cool air got along the Atlantic coast and up north. We barely got brushed with the cooler air. And there's some showers associated behind that front, but they're dissipating, as we saw in that Lakewood Ranch camp. The clouds and the showers thinning out as the day winds up, at least the daylight winds up. Here's our futurecast, takes us to the next 2 days, showing that front continuing to sag southward out of Florida, down in the Florida Straits, down over Cuba and dissipating. High pressure filling in behind it, channeling an easterly wind flow over the state. That'll keep us mild, that'll keep us moist. The dry, crisp air is gone. I don't see it coming back at all as far in the future as I can see. Here's my forecast for the rest of tonight. Partly cloudy skies. Temperature 64 degrees. Our average is 59 with east-northeast winds at 10 miles per hour. And our forecast for tomorrow, partly sunny day. It should be a really nice day. High 83, maybe a little bit warmer than that, which is warmer than normal. East winds gusting up to 20 miles per hour. And here's your 7-day outlook showing the chance of showers coming back late Friday into Saturday. We're going to have a lot of breezes too. You know, in March, all across the country, March is the month that you get your kites out and fly your kites. Well, that's what you're going to be able to do for the next few days. Tuesday, breezy, high 83, nighttime lows in the upper 50s to low 60s for the most part. Now, the clouds will start to increase late on Friday and will increase the chance of rain overnight into Saturday morning to 50%. But that chance of rain will ease up very quickly, and the rest of Saturday, like from noon Saturday on through the rest of the Easter weekend, will be beautiful, picture-perfect weather. The high temperature on Easter Sunday right now looks like it'll be 81 degrees. Alan will be back with his primetime headlines right after these words. Please stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
About every 3 minutes in America, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer. Light the Night brings together survivors and supporters to bring light to the darkness of cancer and to help fund life-saving research. Our goal is a world without blood cancers, and we're lighting the path to cures. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. Help defeat the darkness of cancer. Join Light the Night today.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. We're gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
I'm Stephanie Roberts on Suncoast View, keeping everyone busy this holiday week at Sarasota's Craft Bar. We have a week's worth of projects, plus the touring cast of Motown.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
Checking primetime headlines, the Trump administration today is taking a stand against Russia alongside our European allies, expelling dozens of Russian intelligence officers from the United States. The move is aimed at punishing Russia for its role in a recent nerve attack on a former Russian spy and his daughter in England. ABC's Megan Hughes has the details.
The White House announcing the largest expulsion of Russian intelligence officers in U.S. history. In addition, President Trump is ordering the Russian consulate in Seattle to close because of its proximity to Boeing as well as a U.S. submarine base. The move came in conjunction with expulsions by more than a dozen European nations.
We obviously stand united with allies that believe in the rule of law.
British investigators and U.S. intelligence believe that a military-grade nerve agent developed by Russia was used in the attack on a former Russian spy and his daughter in Britain. The Kremlin has denied responsibility. President Trump weighed in earlier this month.
It certainly looks like the Russians were behind it, something that should never, ever happen.
60 Russian intelligence officers are now being asked to leave the U.S., 48 from the embassy in Washington, 12 from the United Nations. The administration says they were working under the guise of being diplomats.
Today's actions make the United States a safer place by limiting the ability of Russia to spy on Americans.
The administration's move in stark contrast to the president's phone call with Vladimir Putin last week, in which he did not confront the Russian president on the attack in Britain. That's the same call during which Trump congratulated Putin on his re-election, despite advice to the contrary from his national security team. The White House refutes any inconsistency.
The president wants to work with Russia, but their actions sometimes don't allow that to happen.
A spokeswoman for Russia's foreign ministry says that Russia will retaliate against every country that expelled its diplomats. She also accuses the U.S. and the U.K. of staging the poisoning attack for their own benefit. Megan Hughes, ABC News, Washington.
Adult film star Stormy Daniels is stepping up her legal battle with President Trump's personal attorney. Daniels is now suing Michael Cohen for defamation. Cohen says he paid Daniels $130,000 of his own money as a part of a non-disclosure agreement, but the new lawsuit says Cohen implied Daniels is a liar. President Trump still denies the affair. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohen. Thanks for joining us and have a good night.